listening to Planet Vero Radio. I am Cindy Schwartz, and this is the Patient Partner Show. We are broadcast on 101.7 FM Real Radio, WCZR, and we are podcast on Spreaker as well. Jeannie Roller and I are going to talk today about medical gaslighting. So we've mostly heard that term. People are familiar with it, what it actually is. It's kind of confusing sometimes, I know, for me, Jeannie. In the medical community, to even put those two words together, medical and gaslighting, to me is just, what's the word? I don't want to say abhorring. It's crazy. I've said crazy so many times. Wow.
Evil.
It's evil. I mean, wow. How do we do this? I mean, you're trusting your life with people and they're not even giving you the information in a lot of instances. And, one article I read, I can't quote it, but one article that I read said, in all honesty, Jeannie, that some of the GP doctors are literally have time to spend 5, 6, 8 minutes with each patient. How in the world can that doctor, I don't care if you have 10 MBAs from Harvard and you're that brilliant, and doctors are smart, they have to be, to go to a lot of these classes and schools and whatever, how can you figure out something wrong in 5 or 8 or 9 minutes? I mean, it's just almost impossible, I think. What do you think, Jeannie?
Well, this comes from an article, again, from MedPage, February 14th, Gaslighting and Dismissal, the Consequences of Invalidating Patients' Concerns. It was written by a MD, Lisa Barron, and it talks about when you go to the doctor, especially for women, this is a problem. A lot of times you tell them your symptoms and they say, well, you're just under stress or you're anxious. They don't really take the time to figure out what is really going on. And this one person in this article, come to find out a couple of years later, she had MS and it had progressed. So because they gaslighted her, she had her MS at a point in stage where it shouldn't have been. And it's the same a lot of times if a woman goes to the ER with heart issues, go home, honey, take it easy, don't get stressed. Instead of checking them out for actual heart symptoms by doing the EKGs and so on and so forth, they're like, you're just emotional, go home.
Yeah. You know what? A lot of times I've always called that patronizing. I don't know, gaslighting is a newer term or whatever. I mean, I'm, older or whatever, but I've been patronized so many times in the system too. I agree with a lot of it, and I'm not going to point, if it's a male doctor telling a female patient or vice versa, whatever. I mean, I've personally, honestly had it happen with both male and female doctors, and I don't know if it's because they're on a time crunch. I really don't know, but I do know that the care in a lot of instances has really fallen by the wayside. It's just exasperating. Yeah.
And, if they're willing to gaslight you about your illnesses or your symptoms, what about the other things where gaslighting is actually lying to you? Where they say, if you say, I was stripped naked, no, that didn't happen. There's that flip side, that if they're willing to not help you get well or find out what's causing the issues, are they not also going to be willing to do what they figure are lesser evils?
Yeah, I mean, I'm stumped for an answer. I mean, certainly we know also that there are phenomenal doctors out there giving, unbelievable care, and nurses and the whole bit. But, these are articles that are written by people that are in that profession, so they see it firsthand themselves and are talking out about it, trying to give some information on it, because the patient should have all the information. Maybe if you do, as the patient, have a little bit more information and you kind of suspect, for lack of a better word, that this is happening to you, you can leave. You always have the option to leave, most of the time, unless you're on such unbelievable amount of drugs you physically can't get up or mentally can't get up. I get that too.
Right.
But so you can try to get yourself the best care. That's what we talk about, you and I, Jeannie, and try to get information for people, because you should be able to get the best care. I mean, honestly tired of being painted into a corner with a lot of this stuff where I kind of want it to go back the old way, but that's never going to happen. So going forward, how do we get some of this information out so people can really make an informed decision at the end of the day? It's about informed decisions, and it's about trying to have some kind of a trust and in that relationship, that doctor-patient relationship, medical healthcare relationship. But wow, it's getting tougher and tougher. And this is coming from people that are in the system themselves. That's sad that people have to work under those kind of constraints.
Well, the other thing is that gaslighting patients, either by gaslighting their symptoms, diminishing their symptoms, or saying, no, that didn't happen to you, actually forces patients to do things like Google, to go on Facebook, to go on Reddit, to do their own research. And then that presents a whole nother set of issues, because then when you go into the doctor and say, I have this and this and this, I checked it out on such and such, then the doctors or nurses, they get upset because they don't like patients. For the most part, they don't like patients who do their own research coming and telling them, hey, I checked this out, because they are the one with the medical degree. They're the ones who spend all the time, and you're infringing upon their territory. So then that creates a whole nother set of issues for that patient.
It absolutely
and
does.
More likely to be gaslighted.
Right. Well, now you're like second guessing what their expertise is.
Yeah.
And no one's 100% right. Yeah.
Right. And that usually ends badly for the patient, because they don't like that. They'll tell you straight up about that I'm the doctor, I'm the nurse.
A lot of them will do that. I mean, not everyone. A lot of them do.
Yeah, not everyone.
Yeah. It's never 100%. But the other side to it is that I found personally, and I've also found friends and family and whatever, we decide to do different things. Go into other kind of chiropractors.
Right.
What's the other? Acupuncture. Those kind of things. More holistic kind of things, rather than just keep get yourself trampled in the medical system. I hate to use that word, but it's like the breast cancer too. There's different kind of photography and stuff now, digital photography that does. A lot of the doctors will say that that's not really as good, but some people have used that for breast exams rather than mammogram, and have saved their own lives with digital,
Right.
So there's no one specific way to do it. I just think the more information that you have, a lot of times maybe the better avenue you can kind of decide what you want to do. It's just frustrating. It is frustrating. Yeah. And we're paying a lot of money for this frustration. It's not like we're getting this for free. I mean, I'm not.
Well, and the other side to that is, for some patients who have been gaslighted, especially for like my husband, who know this medical care is fine, you should just accept it, has caused him not to seek medical care. So, in the long run, they've done more actual harm than good, because they have made him turn away from seeking their counsel because they were so horrible.
Well, that's true in a lot of people's instances. I mean, certainly not everyone, but people say that if you leave, then they're not going to have any business, because there won't be any patients. There won't be any customers, if you will, because that's really what we are, too, customers. I don't know. I mean, it's, it's a tightrope we walk, I guess, But if you're hurt, you're in pain, something's not right, I mean, you got to get, in my opinion, some kind of care. I mean, I certainly have, and it's lousy to have to walk in second guessing, like, I don't want to say it's bordering on paranoia, because it certainly isn't that, but, I just always trusted, and now I kind of have to ask the questions. So, on that note, Jeannie Roller, another great set of information. Yeah, people are being gaslighted in the medical industry. It's just across society anymore, I guess. Anyway, you've been listening to Planet Vero Radio. Please stay tuned.